The Senate will now come to order. The Pledge of Allegiance will now be led by Chief of Staff Tax, followed by a moment of silence and reflection.
If willing and able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated.
The clerk will now call the roll. Please correct the pronunciation of your name if it is incorrect.
Baber. Barnes. Bean. Bracy. Brash. Byer. Calder. Cost. Creed. Durham. Felix. Galavati. Goldstein. Gruner. Haber. Hamilton. Harvey. Hensley. Hurd. Howe. John. Kay. Kwame. LaPinta. Lapsley. Lynn. Malachi. Miller. Montalto. Morgan. Peterson. Rangavajula. Ravi. Sane. Sellers. Spitler. Tanner. Vaught. Wall. Wenzel. Whitehead.
With a quorum being present, is there Senator Peterson? All right, let the clerk put that in the sheet. With a quorum being present, is there a motion to approve the Journal of February 14th, 2024 as found online? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in line for general orders of the Senate, beginning with reports from Senate leadership. Is there anyone willing to speak on the Rules Committee? Chairman Harvey, you're recognized, sir.
Hey everyone, rules met on Sunday as normal. We had 3 pieces of legislation go through and we all found them unanimously favorable. Yield my time to questions.
The chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you so much. Is there a motion to take a 3-minute recess to correct an error on the calendar? Without objection, so ordered. We're now staying in a 3-minute recess. I'll now call the Senate back to order. Senator Morgan. Granted. Senator Morgan. Granted. Continuing on with reports from Senate leadership, we will now have a report from the Academics Committee. Chairwoman Creed, you are recognized, ma'am.
I'll keep it short because I know it's been a long night so far. We met Monday at 6 as usual. Not too much going on. We were just talking about the end of the term last few weeks and what all left we have to do. Senator Sellers has a piece of legislation that may hit the floor soon, but with that, I yield to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Finance Committee. Is there anyone willing to give a report on her behalf? Senator Lynn, you're recognized.
Hey everyone, so unfortunately Senator Durham couldn't make it today, but Finance did not meet this week. However, Senator Durham did speak with Matt and members of the Sustainability Committee to discuss some collaborative campus initiatives.
Do you yield to questions?
I yield to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Health and Safety Committee. Chairwoman Ravi, you are recognized, ma'am.
Hey guys, another week. Glad to see you guys today. Just wanted to catch you guys up on what's going on in health and safety. So on Friday, we're gonna have a kind of a different meeting. We will be getting coffee and donuts together as a committee from 3:30 to 4:30. And then we will be doing a period packing party to pack all of the products raised in the menstrual product drive from 4:30 to 6:30. We've got some other senators from different committees joining us, which I'm really excited about. We also have a couple people from No Periods Left Behind joining us, so I'm really excited about that as well. Tonight, you're going to see a piece of legislation from Health and Safety regarding the SAVIP number on the Carolina card. We're really excited to have that out on the floor for you guys. We're also currently working with the academic provost to look at the immunization holds that students have. We are trying to clarify that process up just a little bit, and that's pretty much how we'll be rounding out our term. So that's all I have, and I yield to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Inclusion and Equity Committee. Is there anyone willing to give a report on her behalf? Seeing none, we'll now hear a report from the Judiciary Committee. Chairwoman Hamilton, you are recognized, ma'am. Also now Speaker-elect Hamilton.
Thank you. I hope everybody had a great week and a good evening so far. Congratulations to everybody that was elected. Sorry, my computer just totally crashed. I was walking up here. Judiciary had a pretty productive meeting. Speaker Pro Tem Board Baber is still working on legislation regarding increasing the executive stipends. And then we did find one piece of legislation unfavorable. That was by Senator Lynn. It was SBL 11562. It was found unanimously unfavorable, but I believe there is a piece of legislation hitting the floor today that is essentially the same thing, but it's co-sponsored by 2 other senators in Judiciary. So with that, I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Chairman Harvey, you are once again recognized, sir.
Hey again, sort of same thing. Where Powers met on Tuesday, and we are also working on Speaker Pro Tem Board Baber's stipend increase legislation. I yield my time to questions.
The chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We will now hear a report from the Student Life Committee. Is there anyone willing to give a report on her behalf? Senator, you're recognized to give a report.
Hey guys, we did not meet this Monday, in person, so we did it virtually. But Student Life found SBL 11563 unanimously favorable, and all of us senators are just finishing up our initiatives as the term comes to a close. So with that, I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Sustainability Committee. Chairman Hensley, you are recognized, sir.
Sustainability met Monday at 7, and we shared some of the research that we had done about climate action plans at our universities. And that was about it. With that, I have questions.
The chairman yields to questions. Are there any questions for the chairman? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll now hear a report from the Freshman Council. Are there any representatives from the Freshman Council present? Seeing none, we will now hear a report from the Constitutional Council. Chief Justice Buchmeier, you are recognized, sir.
Hope everyone's having a good evening. Not much has happened this past week. I helped the Elections Commission just a few moments ago certify the election. That seemingly, hopefully, went pretty well. Congratulations to everybody. And with that, I yield to questions.
The Chief Justice yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief Justice? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Speaker of the Student Senate, Cameron Eubanks. Chief of Staff Courtney Tax, and now Vice President-elect Tax, you are recognized, ma'am.
Hey, y'all. Well, I wanted to congratulate each and every one of you, especially our senators that were reelected for the next term. Thank you for keeping it a very, very positive environment through your committees and in here, and just staying focused on the work that you guys are currently doing as well. It really says a lot when you can do both. Please, like I said, please stay focused. We have 2 more sessions after this, one next week and then one right after spring break, right before inauguration. So we do have 2. It's 2 weeks to write legislation, 2 weeks to get your ideas worked on. So please work on that. This Friday, please, I'm just going to reiterate what Chairwoman Chairwoman Ravi said. Please come to the period packing party. I'm bringing cookies. I'm begging you. Please come. I'm bringing cookies. So please come. It's going to be a good time. Again, we only have 3 more weeks together. You might as well bond for the last 3 weeks. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The Chief of Staff and Vice President-elect yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Chief of Staff? Chairwoman Hamilton, and I can't do it again. Chairwoman Hamilton, you're recognized, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to get the Walmart cookies that are like the soft ones with the frosting on it. You're either a lover or a hater.
Chairwoman Ravi.
I unfortunately do have to work at the LSC on Friday. Unfortunately. Yes, Emma. Woo!
Any other questions for the Chief of Staff? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body Treasurer. Treasurer Oxbach Lama, you're recognized. Seeing none. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body Vice President. Vice President Reeves, you are recognized, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Congrats to everyone, but especially congrats to our new VP-elect. But not really much from me tonight. I'm just excited to put in a lot of work through transition. But as always, I yield the questions.
The Vice President yields to questions. Are there any questions for the Vice President? Seeing none, thank you so much. We are now in line for a report from the Student Body President. President Thompson, you are recognized.
Hi, everyone. Happy election night. I'm so excited for all of y'all that were re-elected and our new executive officer-elects. On that note, this week's focus has been on transition. I finished my transition guide this week, and I'm super committed to training the next student body president-elect. Cabinet and staff will also be finishing up their transition guide in the next few weeks. Continuity of the large-scale initiatives is pivotal in these roles. We've also been working on some Carolina core revitalization this week in Cabinet, so that will be incorporating a personal finance course in place of some redundant Carolina core requirements. Obviously, this is not something we have the power to do on our own, but it's just some research that we want to be able to provide. So we've been comparing our core to peer institutions and discussing with some of the academic advisors what that would look like. We had a super positive Senate Finance hearing Thursday, following up a great Carolina Day last week. The President discussed the same points he brought up during the House Ways and Means a few weeks ago. We had a Board of Trustees Governance Committee meeting Friday to approve the contract for Sean Elliott, and then I've been preparing for the board meeting on this Friday as well. There's also going to be several meetings with some board members ahead of the Finance and Infrastructure meeting in March to discuss campus activity fee, housing, new student union, and other matters. Also super excited to announce the St. Patrick's Day Uber discount. We'll be partnering with USCPD to fund that, so excited to see the results from that. We've had really positive results from our first 2 Uber discount programs. The student government t-shirts will be ordered tonight pending your approval to use the IMF, so I'm super excited about those. Those will be in during the first or second week of March. They're also planning outreach events to student organizations to make sure that we're marketing the student government application, making sure student government is representative of all aspects of our student body. So promoting how to join, but also how student government is a resource to students, and hopefully offering some type of sweet treat along with that to provide just a little bit of an extra incentivization. On that note, there's about $2,000 left in the initiative fund, so please, if you have any ideas, please use that money. It's so important that we use all of our budgets so that we get the same amount next year. And then on a fun note, I was asked to throw out the first pitch on March 24th, just as a thank you for what student government's done this year, so would love all of you guys to be there. With that, I'll yield to questions.
The student body president yields to questions. Are there any questions for the student body president? And point of inquiry, would you like to talk about the IMF request now or when the memo comes up?
Oh, I can just talk about them now. I think this is the first time I've gotten to do this. So there's 2 IMF requests. One is for the student government t-shirts. You should have all seen them in the group me, but they're super cute. They're black, short sleeve comfort colors with the front pocket. They have the student government logo, and on the back it's student government awards, cute little dancing logo. So just a great way to market our organization to the student body and kind of unify us as a group. They used to have these every year when student government had a formal, and we unfortunately do not have that anymore. But this is kind of a cool way to bring back that tradition. So would love y'all's approval there. The other request is to use the IMF for the Student Government Awards Banquet, to purchase the Crystal Merit Awards that one from each executive officer is given, and then Freshman Council also gives one. So it'll be for that and the food that night. And with that, I yield to questions again.
Are there any questions for the student body president? Chairwoman Ravi.
Yes, we'll be having a senior band. And so we'll be sending out more information about that from staff really soon, but it'll be following the Student Government Awards Banquet at Polly's front porch. So,
Any other questions? And point of information, this is the time, if you have questions about the IMF requests, to ask specifically. So yeah, Chairwoman Ravi.
A couple weeks. That would probably be more of an advisor question. Is this just for IMF in general?
Point of information, yours was an internal purchase request, and so that's not done through the IMF. So that's currently being processed, I imagine, at the university level.
I would check with Emma after Senate because she can provide you more solid information than I can, but yeah.
Senator Miller.
No, you're all good. It's a mandatory student government event, but since this is Cameron's office, I'll leave it to him and his staff discretion on how y'all can submit excuses if you can't be there. But March 14th, it's a Thursday, 6 p.m. It'll be at the Carolina Raymond Capstone, so it'll be really cute.
It's also the day after the last Senate session as well.
Yeah, so one last chance to spend quality time together.
Yeah. Senator Miller.
So this is where I'm going to try really hard to compartmentalize the 2 things. The Student Government Awards Banquet is an official university event, and it is student government members only, just to recognize the work we've done this year and what we hope to achieve in the future. Afterwards, it will be at your discretion and the tickets you buy to bring guests to Polly's front porch.
Any other questions for the student body president? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
We are now in line for a period of special orders of the Senate. Are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read?
A communication from the Office of the Student Body President concerning the request for withdrawal of funds from the Internal Monetary Fund.
The question is of approval of the withdrawal of funds from the Internal Monetary Fund for Student Government's T-shirt order and the awards banquet. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. The withdrawal from the IMF is approved. Continuing on with special orders, the clerk will now read. Seeing no more special orders of the Senate, we are now in line for the motion period. Point of information, this is where you can make any motion on the floor and you can remove or add yourself to any committee of your choosing. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Lynn. There's been a motion to table SBL 11562 indefinitely. Is there a second? All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The legislation is tabled. Are there any other motions on the floor? Senator Bean. There's been a motion to remove Senator Bean from the Judiciary Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Any other motions on the floor? Seeing no more motions, is there a motion to dispense with the motion period? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now on the call, the introduction of new legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11565, introduced by Senator Gruner. A recommendation to add the Sexual Assault and Violence Intervention and Prevention Hotline contact to the back of all future Carolina cards manufactured.
Senator Gruner, you're recognized to speak on the legislation.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Just want to say congratulations, by the way, for everyone who ran for re-election and was re-elected, and I look forward to working with y'all next term. So the deal with this legislation was in order to add SAVEUP, which was the Sexual Assault, Violence, Intervention, and Prevention hotline number to the back of the Carolina card. I'm sure all of us can agree that sexual assault is a legitimate problem on our campus, and we need to take it very seriously. Both reports from SAVEUP and Title IX suggest that less than 10% of all sexual assault cases are reported, and that can be for a lot of different reasons, but one of those reasons should not be because students cannot find the resources to contact and to talk with. Everyone has to carry the Carolina card, from students to faculty and to staff, and so the recommendation here will be to add their number to the back of the Carolina card. SAVEUP has already agreed to a certain term for that, and I'll be working with Carolina card to get it added soon. With that, I yield to questions.
Senator Gruner yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Senator Brash.
The number that's going to go on the Carolina card is going to say SAVIP for the confidentiality for anybody who calls. That way it's protected for the victims. And the number that will be attached will be their actual number, which will be the 803-777-8248, I believe.
Any other questions? Chairwoman Ravi. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any other questions for the senator? Chairwoman Hamilton.
We'll be working with Carolina Card in order to help differentiate it. They have to do multiple different prototypes in order to size it to make sure that we can fit it, not to mess with some of the barcodes that are on the back. For that differentiation, SAVEUP and then the phone number should be small enough that it's all going to fit on one line. So hopefully there will be like some spacing in between that information and the crisis number. But I can give a better detail on that once they start making prototypes that actually can work.
Any other questions for the senator? Senator LaPinta.
Point of information, the number is suicide prevention. So that's
Any other questions? Seeing none, this legislation is referred to the Health and Safety Committee. And continuing on the call of the introduction of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11566, introduced by Senator Rangavajula, a recommendation to improve accessibility of HPV vaccination and PAP test on campus.
Senator Rangavajula, you're recognized to speak on the legislation, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I begin, I'd like to ask a quick question to the body. How many of you guys know what the brand name for the HPV vaccine is? One out of all of us, right? It's a pretty crazy idea to think that the HPV vaccine, a very prevalent disease on college campuses, is only listed after you search through a couple of pages on the health center page by its brand name and not by its utility and the disease that it prevents. For those of you that don't know, HPV is the human papillomavirus. It spreads mainly through sexual contact and has a 3-step vaccination series that is only generally used within the ages of 11 to 26. So as college students who are a lot of times sexually active, it is important that we are protected against it. And in many cases, especially in the state of South Carolina, we see students who are not. For instance, we are the lowest for the number of, or the rate of girls vaccinated against this disease, and the second lowest for boys. So this can have severe repercussions, and in a lot of cases leads to the development of cancer. So having this service be more broadly publicized to the populace will be pretty important in maintaining USC as a healthy campus. So to this end, I've been working with the Student Health Center to help improve outreach by doing a PSA that's in the works, as well as doing a vaccination drive. I just wanted to continue this initiative down in the future terms to ensure that this partnership with the health center continues and that more and more students are aware of the services of the HPV vaccine as well as the PAP test that is done in the health center. So with that, I yield to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you so much. The legislation is referred to the Health and Safety Committee once again. Oh, Senator Sane, excuse me. Granted. Apologies. Continuing on the call, the introduction of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11567, introduced by Senator Lynn, Kay, and Lapsley. A bill to specify the notice and enforcement of absence policy.
The senators are recognized to speak on the legislation. In point of information, this was the error on the calendar. We did not have enough time to fix it, but just know that Senator Len's motion to table the bill on the second reading calendar was passed, and so this one was a new one submitted to rules prior to Sunday. You guys can start whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. I'll try to keep this short, but this is a complete rework of the previous iterations of the bill to specify the notice and enforcement of absence policies. After consulting with the Judiciary Committee and speaking with Senators Lapsley and Kay here, we've decided a better angle to approach this is, as opposed to enforcing a compulsory voting for absence violations, it would be better to simply specify and clarify, which was the original objective to this bill, that should a senator violate the absence policy, be requited through voting, and once again violate it, then we would have to call for another voting. I yield the floor to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senators?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you so much. Seeing no more questions, the legislation is referred to the Judiciary Committee. Continuing on the call, the introduction of new legislation. Hearing none, we're now on the call of the uncontested calendar. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11563, introduced by Senator Barnes, a recommendation to host a whiteout-themed game during the 2024 football season.
Senator Barnes, you're recognized to speak on the legislation.
Hey everyone, I've continued meeting with athletics department and some cabinet members, but there's nothing really to update y'all on, so I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Senator Kay. To this specific piece of legislation? There's been a motion to pass by acclamation. Is there a second? All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. This legislation is passed by acclamation and unanimous consent. Contending on the call, the uncontested calendar, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11564, introduced by Senator Sellers and Bean, a recommendation to enhance the transfer student experience by expanding the end of orientation survey to all orientation participants via email.
Senator Sellers and Bean, you are recognized to speak on the legislation.
Good evening, y'all. So, as it says, this is a recommendation to get the transfer orientation survey available to all of the participants because a lot of the participants that go to the orientation leave at some point during the day because they've been pre-advised, which is great. That means our program is working. So they're not going to stay during the rest of the period to get advised in person because they've already been. But the problem is with that is that they are missing out on the end of orientation survey that's only provided to people that have been for the whole time. So what this suggests is that we have it emailed to all participants so they can participate because we want to hear all of their feedback because that is how we better the transfer student experience. Do you want to add anything? And with that, we yield to questions.
The senators yield to questions. Are there any questions for the senators? Senator Kay. There's been a motion to pass by unanimous consent and acclamation. Is there a second? All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The legislation is passed by unanimous consent. Contending on the call, the uncontested calendar, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now on the call of the contested calendar, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11561, introduced by Senator Harvey. A bill to amend Section 4220 of the Student Government Codes to institute the 115th Student Senate reapportionment calculations for the 2024-2025 election term.
Is there any senator wishing to speak on this bill? Senator Kay, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you all for your patience. I'll be very, very brief. Effectively, what we had with this bill was a constitutional problem. Obviously, within the codes, Chapter 4, or Article 1, Section 3, subsection C, it's a whole lot of things. We're not allowed to edit any of the codes during election season. This makes sense for a variety of reasons. However, this bill is a constitutional thing. In Article 3, subsection 4 of the Constitution, we have to do this. So, in order to remediate this got tabled for a week. However, the intention is we have to adopt this because it's a constitutional thing we have to do every year. We just couldn't adopt it during election season. Now that election season is officially over, and congratulations to everyone who won, we can adopt this and avoid a constitutional crisis. Sound fair? I'll yield to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you so much. We're now in a period of debate on the bill. Is there any senator wishing to speak? Senator Miller, you're recognized, ma'am.
Okay, so realigning it would take a seat away from the College of Pharmacy, and we're not necessarily debating that there shouldn't be that realignment, but more so everyone who ran and this current election season was under the impression that there would be 3 seats for this year. So we actually are we knew that there were only 2 people running, so we're currently recruiting more people to get into a 3rd seat. So we don't believe that it should be changed for this upcoming term because when we signed the codes and such, we were told that there were 3 seats. So not necessarily that there shouldn't be a realignment, but that it should not be happening until the 25-26 election term due to whenever this was brought about within the elections. And with that, I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Senator Lapsley. Point of information, she's referencing the vacancy that was announced at the election results tonight. Chairwoman Hamilton. And to add on to that point of information, the formula is in the codes. It's full-time students enrolled in the college divided by full-time students enrolled in the university, and then it's multiplied by a certain number. And that formula can be found if you control F, full-time enrollment in the codes. Senator LaPinta.
We haven't confirmed anyone yet because obviously the results just came out today. But we are still speaking to a few people. We're trying to drum up interest. And additionally, I believe that if the seat was to be reassigned to the other college, it would be vacant in that position also. So at least in our aspect, we are working to get someone in there.
And point of information, since obviously the filing period is passed, the election results were announced, what she is referencing is trying to get someone into that vacant seat through the powers and responsibilities interviews, not through another election or anything like that. Senator Barnes. Did not recognize you, sir. Senator Miller, did you have a response to that question?
I believe it's February 1st.
Chairman Hensley. Any other questions for the senator? Thank you so much. Is there any other senator wishing to speak on the passage of SBL 11561? Hearing no more debate, we shall now move to a vote on the legislation. This shall be a roll call vote since this was on the contested second reading. A vote in the favorable aye is a vote for the passage of the bill itself. A vote in the negative nay is a vote to deny passage of the bill. The clerk will now call the roll.
Baber.
Point of information, if you're proxying, this is where you'd say proxy aye or proxy nay. And you have signed an agreement on Garnegate saying that you would act in that senator's behalf in terms of voting. The clerk will continue with the roll.
Barnes. Barr. Bean. Bracy. Brash. Byer. Calder. Cost. Creed. Durham. Felix.
Senator Felix. Nay.
Gallivati. Goldstein. Gruner. Haber. Hamilton. Harvey. Hensley. Hurd. Howe. John. Kay. Kwame, LaPinta, Lapsley, Lynn, Malachi, Miller, Montalto, Morgan, Peterson, Rungabajula, Ravi, Sane, Sellers, Spittler, Tanner, Vaught, Wall, Wenzel, Whitehead.
Have all senators answered the call? The polls are now closed. The clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 25 ayes to 12 nays and 0 abstentions, the legislation is adopted by majority. Continuing on the call of the contested calendar, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now in line for a period of open discussion. Does any senator wish to bring a matter of attention to the body? Seeing none, we are now in line for a period of announcements. Are there any announcements from the floor? Chairwoman Ravi, you're recognized, ma'am.
Hi guys, so I'm actually going to be making this announcement pretty much up until the end of the term because this is something that is very, very important to me. And you guys are also very important to me, so I want you guys to be a part of this. But as you guys all know, Discover USC is a research conference for people that have been working very hard on their research poster. I will be postering this year, so if you guys want to come out and see me talk about science, that would be really awesome. Also, there are a lot of senators in this body that do undergraduate research. So if you want to come out and support us or just talk to us in general and know how to get your toes wet when it comes to research, please be there. Yeah, yield to questions.
Any questions for the chairwoman, Chairwoman Hamilton? Any other questions, Senator Barnes?
I love this question. So I work in an organic chemistry lab, and so my research focuses on modifying polymers so that we can see how they change their properties in solvents. So we're using polymers or synthesizing certain polymers so that they can mimic solvents because solvents are very bad for the environment. So if we can modify polymers, then we can run reactions in those rather than solvents instead. So it's eco-friendly green chemistry right there.
Any other questions for the chairwoman? Senator Miller.
Yay! Oh, can I say a point of information?
You're recognized, ma'am.
Oh, sorry. I think if my PI lets me, my poster is either going to be pink or purple, so that's also really exciting. So be there to come see that. Yeah.
Any other questions for the chairwoman? Senator LaPinta.
Oh. That is so true. It is my 22nd on Friday. I feel so geriatric, but I don't want to talk about it.
Well, we wish you the happiest of birthdays.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the chairwoman? Senator Brash.
Yes. As of now, I know I'm driving. My car fits like 5 people. I drive a Civic. Aiden, are you driving? Point of information, Senator Gruner's driving. So if anybody else would like to volunteer to be a designated driver, that would be great. As of now, yeah, I think we're covered. But if we need to arrange transportation, I'll let y'all know. Yeah.
Any other questions for the chairwoman? Seeing none, thank you so much. Any other announcements on the floor? Seeing none, I have a really quick announcement. Congratulations to everyone that got elected tonight. I'm so excited to hand over the gavel to Speaker-elect Hamilton in the next couple weeks, and I'm so proud of all the things that she has accomplished this year and all the things she will accomplish in the 116th. But I'm also so proud to see so many of your names on that list for next year's term. Like I said, Senate is one of those things that once you start it, you really can't stop it. It'll always be there for you. You can always come back to it. It's a wonderful organization, so I'm super excited to see what all of you are going to do next year and in the years to come. I would like to say we have 2 more sessions left, 1 session next week, and then we do not have a session in spring break. Please do not come here during spring break. I will not be here during spring break, so please do not show up. And then the week when we get back from spring break, that will be our last session. I did say we might have a surprise in store for the last session that is still in the works, so I will announce that probably over email next week, and that comes to fruition. So just be prepared to, number 1, be there for the last session, because I will be giving out a host of awards, and they're really fun, and I'm actually really excited about my idea for it. And I also will be doing a Senate in review. Every speaker at the last session always does kind of like a State of the Student Body address, but more internal for our body. So please come for that, because I'm celebrating all of your hard work. If you want to invite any family, friends, please do. I know my family is coming. So please come, invite your friends, invite your family to come see what you guys do on a Wednesday at 5:30. I know my roommates had no idea, and they still have no idea, even though I've been doing this for a year. So, invite them to things. It'll be super nice. There'll be lots of pictures taken. And it's just a really good way to close out the final Senate session. It also is really cool if you're really into national or state politics. Our Senate does end with a sine die resolution. So if you work at the State House, or you work in national government, that's what they also end with, is with a sine die resolution. So it's a really cool formality thing as well. And that is also when I will be handing over the gavel to the next Speaker of the Student Senate. So I'm very excited for that. Also, the day afterwards is the SG Awards Banquet. Every executive officer gives an award for their branch. So I have chosen the recipient of my award, and I would love for all of you to come because it is a surprise. And so I'm very excited to hand this award over to this individual. It is a senator, spoiler alert. But it's really nice. They're all glass awards. There'll be food. It's gonna be super nice. It's not gonna be in Russ House this year. It's gonna be actually in Capstone. I'm gonna get a T-shirt. There's fun awards. There's gonna be superlatives as well on top of the serious awards. And then right afterwards, there is a gathering of friends that's no way affiliated with student government whatsoever at Polly's Front Porch that is also working as a senior band type function to celebrate the seniors of a certain organization that shall not be named. So that is a lot of information really quickly. I also thank you guys for bearing with me. I have been a little sick the past couple days, so my energy levels are not what they are, so I apologize for not being in the office this week. But again, I am available via email and text. I probably will be in the office tomorrow and Friday. So if you have anything last minute you want to work on your projects, you need clarification, you need to see how a certain sentence in legislation sounds, please come to me because after this coming Sunday, you can motion to add it to the first reading calendar, but you'd have to pass by acclamation, and that's kind of a messy business. And we prefer if you would submit it to rules so we can grammar check you. So please have your projects wrapped up by this Sunday so we can put an end on the 115th. So yeah. So, any questions for myself? Senator Ron Gavajula. Oh, okay. Is there any more questions for me? Seeing none, Senator, you're recognized.
Hey guys, I'll be brief. I've been working to kind of represent student government with a big undertaking that the mayor's office and a couple of other local governance organizations are doing called the Blue Zone Certification Project. And for those of you who don't know, it's basically focused on transforming Columbia's community wellness and health to like kind of improve the city as a whole. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. there is a kind of information session on this initiative and a couple others that the mayor is leading. So he'll be there at that event. And if you're interested in local governance, getting involved with this project or other ones that I might talk about, be there. I'll drop the information in the group chat. So just want to let you guys know. With that, I yield to questions.
The senator yields to questions. Are there any questions for the senator? Seeing none, thank you so much. I also forgot to mention a huge congratulations not only to our speaker-elect, but also to my dear Chief of Staff, as she now has just become the Vice President-elect. So Senate excellence all around. Senate excellence all around. Continuing on the tradition of Senate excellence in the exec board. So I'm very excited for them. Over the next couple weeks, transition is taking place. So I will be handing over my lovely transition guide to Chairwoman Hamilton starting on Monday. So that'll be an awesome experience. And I look forward to all the things that we are able to do in between now and then. Senator Rav, or excuse me, Chairwoman Ravi. We're going to talk about that on rules on Sunday. Yep. Any other questions for me? Seeing no more questions and seeing no more further announcements, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. The Senate will now stand adjourned until Wednesday, February 28th, 2024.